The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, our wonderful Idaho Child Nutrition sponsors, and thank you for joining our webinar today. It is so hard to believe that we are now into the month of September. My name is Colleen Fillmore, and I am the State Director for the Child Nutrition Programs. And I am going to briefly go through some different things that are going on in the department and certainly things that are affecting you folks out there throughout the state. But then towards the end, very briefly talk about the waivers and everything that happened on Monday this week. And then the rest of the team, we're going to go into much more depth. We really feel that this webinar needs to focus on all of the waivers and the changes that occurred this week. So just real quickly, Idaho PEBT. The Idaho State Department of Ed has been working in partnership with the Department of Health and Welfare on the PET program. And for those of you that might not know what an EBT card is, it is the card that comes from food stamps in the Department of Health and Welfare for when families can go and purchase groceries, etc. The first phase of letters for this program in Idaho, they have gone out to families, and you might get a question from a parent about the program. And Linda will give a little bit more detail on if you get questions, but please let us know if you do have any questions and how we can help. In addition, USDA did unveil an extension to this program that will go through the month of September, the month we're in right now. We are in the process of sending USDA a revised plan from the first phase to extend this important program, and the revised plan should go to USDA today, and once approved, those families that are eligible will receive information. Okay, next thing, just a real friendly reminder that if you are eligible for the $2 million Idaho Rebounds GRH money, then please look at submitting that through our GRA system. Please go out to our archive training if you have any questions on that. There are 3 different areas that you need to meet all 3 to be eligible. And Jessica has up on the screen where that training can be found. It also shows the 3 different areas that you must, again, complete all 3 of those areas to be eligible. So next on the list is our Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program. Jen has been working very hard with that program. There's been lots of different changes, and she is doing award notifications out to 51 districts, announcing the grant award for 118 schools. So you should get that information soon. As another reminder, all of our information is up on the Idaho State Department of Education reopening site. I will admit we need to now do a lot of revisions for that with the new information that came out Monday, so we will get those revisions done sooner than later, and we're getting all of the updated information out there. Some of it is already there, and the rest of it should be up there by today or tomorrow. And then lastly, what our webinar is really going to be on today, on August 31st, Secretary Sonny Perdue announced that USDA is going to extend several flexibilities through the end of the year, December 31st. Now, this is contingent upon the continued availability of funds that Congress has allocated for summer feeding through last June. And so we will be looking at that. As soon as the state agency has gotten additional guidance, we will immediately share that with all of you. We have gotten some information, but we have not gotten the answers to every single question that is out there. So Jessica has some links up here. The first link shows the recorded press conference with Sonny Perdue. The second one will show you the full press release. So at this time, I would like us to jump in to our real webinar, and as far as getting all the information and the questions to you that you probably have with this new information. So with that in mind, I will hand it over to Kim in our Child and Adult Care Food Program.
Thank you, Colleen. Good morning, everyone. This is Kim Sherman. I'm the coordinator of the Child and Adult Care Food Program. And I wanted to let everyone know at this time, state agencies are awaiting further guidance from USDA concerning the new summer food waivers that were just released this week and how this will impact participation in the Child and Adult Care Food Program, specifically the at-risk after-school program. Essentially, the question is whether schools and organizations may operate in both programs at the same time and distribute supper with the summer food meals if they choose to switch from NSLP to summer food or stay on the summer food program. Once our agency receives the guidance, we will notify all CSCP at-risk after-school program sponsors via our broadcast email system. And we are hoping the guidance will be provided very soon. As a reminder, USDA did not issue a school year nationwide activity waiver for after-school programs. After-school programs must provide supervised education enrichment activities after school and on non-school days if you're operating on non-school days, and maintain daily attendance records. So at this point, I don't have any further information. Hopefully we will be able to get back to you soon on the questions that we have concerning the waivers. I will now turn it over to Mary Ann to provide updates on the summer food service program.
Awesome. Thank you, Kim. Can everyone hear me okay?
You sound great, Marianne.
Awesome. Thank you, Colleen. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. So regarding the new extension waivers that, as Colleen mentioned, came out this past Monday, we wanted to just do some SFSB reminders for our sponsors. We do have some that have been operating this whole time since the unanticipated school closure back in March, but we do have some that ended their operation but picked back up, and so we wanted to just do some key reminders regarding the operation of the summer food service program. So really quick, the first bullet point, eligible sponsors. So for any sponsors that have that are currently operating, you can certainly continue operation through the end of December or until funding is available. There is an opt-in form that we are creating, and that will be the opt-in form to operate this fall. And so it's a brand new form that different than what we did back in spring, and we are hoping to finalize that before the weekend. So definitely keep an eye out for our broadcast email with the link to that opt-in form, and we can certainly get you started in that form. In the meantime, for the sponsors who would like to begin operating, you can certainly update your summer feeding packet on My Idaho CNP and get your information updated with the end of meal service date. And please resubmit your packet to the state agency so that the summer feeding team can review that. And if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to the summer feeding team. Eligible participants. Eligible participants are any children age 18 and under may receive meals through the summer feeding program. A person 19 years of age and over who has a mental or physical disability as determined by a state or a local educational agency, and who participates during the school year in a public or a private nonprofit school program, again, established for the mentally or physically disabled, is also eligible to receive meals. Regarding the meal pattern requirements for any of our SFSB sponsors who will be continuing the operation through the fall, please keep in mind the SFSB meal pattern, especially for our school food authority sponsors. We understand that you guys were all in preparation for the school meals program and the meal pattern for that. So we wanted to just do a quick reminder regarding the meal pattern difference between the school meals program and the summer feeding program. There is a meal pattern waiver available, and again, we will send out the link to opt in for that waiver form, but we do want to remind everyone, this is the same operation as we did back in spring, that the meal pattern flexibility waiver will not be approved based on anticipated need and should be completed only when the sponsor is experiencing the need for that flexibility. Again, for any further questions or clarifications, please reach out to the summer feeding team. SFSB packet approval. As I mentioned earlier, we are working on our opt-in form, and hoping to get that finalized before the weekend. But definitely in the meantime, you can begin updating your information on your SFSP packet, and we submit that to the state agency so that we can review. Let's see. And the last requirement, or the last bullet point, is the required monitoring. This is a little tricky, so I will definitely try to be as clear and concise as possible. But if you have any questions, please indicate that on the question poll, or give us a call. Let's see. So required monitoring. Please note that the start of the new federal fiscal year. I apologize. My computer is freezing up here a little bit. Sorry, there you go. Required monitoring. Please note that the start of the new federal fiscal year is October 1st. This means that for the summer feeding sponsors who are continuing meal service past September, their SFSP packet will need to be rolled into the new fiscal year, which means that the SFSP sponsors must complete the summer feeding packet for fiscal year 21. This also means, as it pertains to monitoring requirements, that for any sites that operated in fiscal year 20, which is currently right now, October 1st, 2019 to September 30th, 2020, and that will be operating past September 30th, must have the site review and racial ethnic data completed if the SFSP sponsor thinks the sites will not be operating in summer 2021. For any sites that's operating, for any new sites operating this month that did not operate this past summer or early spring, will also need to have the pre-operational visit, the first week site visit, the site review, and the racial and ethnic data. And so we wanted to make sure that we share that information with everyone. And if you guys have, again, if you have any questions at all regarding the monitoring requirements, please reach out to the summer feeding team. And the last part, I wanted to pass this on to Dominique. She has some information to share regarding the difference between SFSP and SSO, and just the difference in the operation in regards to those two programs. So Dominique, if you wanted to jump in.
Thank you, Marianne. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Dominique.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Dominique with the Summer Food Service Program. And thank you all for being here today. I wanted to highlight a little bit of information. I know there's a lot of confusion going around right now, understandably so. But we wanted to clarify that those sponsors that operated the Summer Food Service Program in 2019 or 2020 have the option to continue to operate the NSLP, the Summer Food Service Program, or they can operate the Seamless Summer option. If the SFA is set up already for NSLP meal service and wishes to continue serving the NSLP meal pattern due to training and procurement procedures that have already been put into place, they may choose the Seamless Summer option for the beginning of the school year or until December or when the funding runs out, and transition back to traditional summer food during the summer months. The reason many sponsors operate Seamless Summer is because it allows sponsors to utilize the NSLP meal service. In considering the time of this release, sponsors may opt into this the Seamless Summer option because they're already set up for the NSLP meal pattern. The monitoring requirements are different between the two programs, and due to the situation, it may be easier for some sponsors that traditionally operate summer food to utilize the Seamless Summer during this time. And if you would like to consider that, please contact the state agency and we will help you get set up with this program. But we really wanted to make sure that summer food program operators are eligible to utilize the Seamless Summer option as well as the summer food program if that is something they would like to do. I just wanted to make sure everyone understands that, and please reach out with any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique.
now-
And I believe the next person we have is to the NSLP team. So Linda?
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, you're going to hear my voice for quite a bit. I'm going to go over a lot of the questions that were asked prior to this webinar. So we will start with the waivers that were issued on Monday. And I do want to say that daily that there may be tweaks or changes to these. So please bear with us. So the 9 waivers that were issued on Monday allowed SFSP or SSO operations through December 2020, and they did put or until funding runs out. The second one was allow area eligibility for closed enrolled sites in summer food and SSO, a waiver of meal service time restrictions in SFSP and SSO. It extends area eligibility, allows meal pattern flexibility in SFSP and SSO, allows non-congregate feeding in SFSP and SSO, parent guardian pickup in SFSP and SSO. It waives the first week site visits in SFSP, and Dominique and Marianne just went over that, and it allows offer versus serve in summer food program, somewhat similar to NSLP. So these waivers were issued for SFSP and SSO, and previously you had NSLP waivers that you have completed. So if you want to transition to SFSP or SSO, you need to complete, unfortunately, a new set of waivers, and we'll go over where you do that a little bit later. But then now we're going to just go straight into the questions. I probably have 30 slides of questions that we put on the website so you can read along with me. So will schools that do not normally operate summer food service program or seamless summer option, but were allowed to operate SSO for the last few months of the school year last year, be eligible? So yes, if a sponsor operated under SFSP in the last 2 years, they're eligible to run SFSP. And Dominique and Marianne went over that. If the sponsor has not operated under SFSP in the last 2 years, you are eligible to run SSO. They're not required to switch to SFSP or SSO, and you may continue to serve meals under NSLP using the NSLP regulations. So the next question, does the COVID-19 SFSP SSO area eligible waiver allow us to serve meals in schools that have not typically served summer food meals in the past? And that answer is yes. Sponsors may serve meals from sites that have not previously operated in the past. Will meals be able to be claimed retroactively from the beginning of the school year? Now, meals may be claimed under SFSP SSO back to September 1, 2020, if the sponsor has approval to operate under SFSP SSO. So you can apply for it. Just do so in the month as soon as possible. And we can make it go to September 1st. But if you were operating in August, you will claim those meals under NSLP. So the next question, do we mark the kids on the summer food tally sheets or in the POS system that we use? So each SFA has to come up with an integrity plan to ensure each child does not receive duplicate meals. And when I say duplicate meals, I mean more than the breakfast and lunch per one meal per day. So we want you to have an integrity plan. So the answer to the question depends. The tally sheets are permissible, but how do you know if you are only serving one child? That's what I'm trying to convey here. So the next question, is this for brick and mortar schools or for all children, students 1 to 18? So if the sponsor operates under SFSP SSO, meals must be available to children ages 1 to 18 regardless of school enrollment. So it's just open to all, like a normal summer food program. If we're running NSLP, is it free for all students? Now, no. Sponsors choosing to stay under NSLP are bound by the NSLP rules and regulations and can only serve meals to enrolled students and must charge by the student eligibility, free, reduced, or paid. If we are already signed up under NSLP, which is a majority of you, and in-person school has started, which is some of you, do we qualify for the waiver extension? Yes, you do qualify. Sponsors are able to switch from NSLP to summer food or SSO starting September 1, 2020. Sponsors must update their site application in My Idaho CMP just like you did last March, as well as opting into the nationwide waivers by using the fall 2020 SFSP and SSO waiver opt-in form. So we will need all new waivers. The spring ones do not count. What about a waiver to push back until next year? Those are who are up for provision to base year this year and plan to collect daily names and data of students. So if you're operating under SFSP SSO, all children will receive free meals and can't be counted in your base year. So your base year would be invalidated, and Jen is going to be sending out an email today with your options. The other thing I do want to caution you is if you are doing a base year and things change and suddenly you go to virtual, your base year may be invalidated anyway. What if you're up for a review this year? Great question. Administrative reviews have not been set at this time. Do what's best for your children and your community, and we will provide guidance in the future. We're still waiting to find out. If you switch to SSO, how do we do an NSLP review? So you might have questions. We have questions too. If we are in a school and operating under NSLP, are we supposed to switch and start operating under SFSP and offer free meals to everyone? Or is this just for those who are not in school as normal? So first of all, you are not required to change programs if you do not want to. Sponsors are able to switch from NSLP to summer food or seamless summer starting September 1, 2020. Sponsors must update their site application in My Idaho CMP, as well as opt in to the nationwide waivers. And if you do NSLP, it is only for your enrolled students, and SFSP, SSO would be for all children 1 to 18, but there's also an open site and closed site, closed enrolled, and you may have to call our office for further guidance on this. If we are in a school as normal and switch to SFSP to offer free meals to all students, do we also have to provide free meals for children age 1 to 4 who are not attending school like we do in the summer? Yes, if you are operating SFSP, SSO as an open site, meals must be available to all children age 1 to 18 regardless of school enrollment. Can we operate under NSLP for students that are in school and SFSP for our virtual learning students, or do we have to operate under one or the other? At this time, sponsors may only operate one program. However, we're still waiting guidance from USDA, and last night they sort of hinted that they wanted you to pick one or the other. But again, if they allow it, we will let you know as soon as we know, within a few days. What is the application process for changing from NSLP to Summer Food Seamless Summer if we've already started school? Sponsors must update their site application in My Idaho CMP just like you did in the spring. And for NSLP Seamless Summer option, all right, back this up. If you want to stay on NSLP, there's nothing that you need to do. If you want to change to Summer Food or Seamless Summer, you need to update My Idaho CMP and complete the SFSP SSO waiver opt-ins. If we return to home delivery, if that's an option for students that are doing virtual learning, could we include Saturday and Sunday meals delivered weekly? Yes, weekend meals are allowable if you are operating under Summer Food and Seamless Summer. However, USDA has said additional integrity plans will be required when implementing the waiver, and additional information will be released soon. That's their words. You may not serve weekend meals before having state agency approval, and they were hoping to get out guidance on this mid-September. How will we be submitting claims? Through Seamless Summer or NSLP? It depends if you're operating Seamless Summer or NSLP. Under the claim option in My Idaho CMP, there's a regular NSLP where you usually do, and then underneath that, I believe underneath that is something that is called Seamless Summer option. Sorry. Yeah, it would be claim SNP would be normal NSLP claims. Claim SSO is where you would do the Seamless Summer option claim. Summer Food is a different program in a different area. Okay, next question. What happens in January when parents are upset that lunch isn't free anymore? Do we revert everyone back to what they are now, and will we have to redo applications? Currently, USDA states that the programs will continue until funding runs out or December 31st, 2020, whichever comes first. USDA will notify state agency when operations are to cease, and sponsors must choose which program they would like to operate. So we can't tell you how to advertise this or what to do. We can just give you the information. And will you have to redo applications? If you've received applications this year, remember they are good for the entire year, so you do not have to redo any applications. Can special milk students have lunch and not do the special milk program? Students participating in any meal program are ineligible to participate in the special milk program. Special milk program really is only for students that don't have the opportunity or availability of breakfast and lunch. So if a special milk program is operated in a school where they could get breakfast and lunch, call the state agency, because technically they should not be operating a special milk program. Can unitized breakfast and lunch be sent home with siblings? the state agency on this question needs a little bit more information or clarification on what this was asking. Okay, we will need to take the required training to be able to participate in SFSP or SSO. So SFSP sponsors should have already completed their annual training earlier in the year. SSO sponsors do not need to complete any additional training and should have completed their NSLP training prior to the start of the school year. So you should be covered. Do we collect racial and ethnic data for new SFSP sites? Yes, these requirements are still in place. Do we still collect free and reduced applications? Yes, if you decide to operate under the NSLP program, you're still operating as normal. And what happens to verification? We're still waiting for USDA to tell us what is going to happen with verification. They said that they should get it to us in September, and that could be the end of September. As soon as we find out from USDA, we will let you know. If we are operating under SFSP, does that mean we are using that meal pattern? Yes. Sponsors must use the meal pattern associated with the program they choose to operate under. SFSP is the summer food, SSO and NSLP is the NSLP meal pattern. Would we need to reapply for the SSO waiver since we have not done SFSP in the past? If the sponsor has not operated under SFSP in the last 2 years, the sponsor is eligible to run SSO. Sponsors are not required to switch to SFSP or SSO and may continue to serve meals or may serve meals under NSLP. To reapply, sponsors must update their site application in My Idaho CMP and opt in for the nationwide waivers by using the fall 2020 SFSP and SSO waiver opt-in form, which is a link on the attachment in this webinar. However, I don't think the link is live quite yet. If our school does not operate the SSO or SFSP, can we still use the waiver for our students? The new waivers that came out, the response 48 through 56, are only available to operate under SFSP and SSO. However, sponsors choosing to operate under NSLP may continue to utilize the waivers they've applied for that were issued by USDA on June 25th, 2020. And you should have received a letter for most of the NSLP waivers. If you continue to operate under NSLP, those waivers are still valid. How quickly can we start offering free meals? You're able to switch from NSLP to summer food or seamless summer starting September 1, 2020. I do know it's the 3rd. You could go back 2 days. Sponsors must update their site application. Prior to the end of carryover, I usually send letters to families that their eligibility status will expire and turn in a new free and reduced lunch application. How should I proceed with the end of carryover? If everyone is free, it's going to be hard to have patrons fill out an application. Okay, guidance regarding the 30-day carryover hasn't changed at this time. However, if you're going to seamless summer, they're all free and you don't have to collect applications at this time. If USDA does pull their funding for this and make you switch back, then you would start collecting applications. Can we use a hand counter to count the students? Again, it depends. Using a hand counter would be allowable under SFSP SSO. Meals should be counted by student name and eligibility in the NSLP, but make sure that you have an integrity plan to not provide more than one meal per day per child. Will there be an area eligibility waiver? Yes. Response number 52, nationwide waiver to extend area eligibility, is the area eligibility waiver. What about other programs and grants? CACFP, fresh fruit and vegetable. We're still waiting on additional guidance from USDA on both of those programs. Kim did give you a small update, and Jen is still waiting for additional guidance from USDA. Our school is opening up on September 8th. Sorry, I can't read. My meal plans are all NSLP. How is this going to affect my school? Sponsors aren't required to switch to SFSP SSO and may serve meals under NSLP, or you can apply to SFSP or SSO. So it depends on you. Just make sure that you communicate this with all the families in your area. If I get an application for a family that was free last year, but does not qualify this year, but they got an EBT notice, what do I do? What happens to the PEBT program with all of this new information? So I want to tell you, PEBT is issued based on the eligibility information from the March 23rd, 2020 spreadsheet that you submitted to either Health and Welfare or uploaded in Otis. So if the family qualified for free or reduced meals last year as of March 23rd, 2020, they would be eligible for a PEBT card. So no further steps are needed, and these waivers will not impact PEBT. One thing I do want to let you know is PEBT started rolling out for those already on food stamps this week. They would have gotten a letter. If you have anybody who comes to your office and says, I had 2 students on my letter, but one who was also going to school wasn't included in this letter, first thing you should do is go to the list that you uploaded and check to see if the student is included on there. If the student was included on the list uploaded to Health and Welfare, their next step is to call Health and Welfare. They need to call them and say, my school uploaded this name, he's not included in my letter. If they were not included in the upload and you find they should have been, follow the instructions in the email where you can add a student, but remember, you have to do it by September 20th. If they did not show up on the list because they were not qualified March 23rd, 2020, just let them know you didn't qualify. I do want to inform you that there is an extended PEBT for students that have 5 days or more not at school, and it's affecting a very small number of districts in the area. It's about 18, and we've already started communicating with those districts on the extended PEBT. So watch for emails to start coming on that quickly, because that one has to be issued to the families by September 30th. So do I need to advertise that we are part of the SSO or SFSP for the other children that live near our school that may be staying home due to the COVID-19 pandemic? Yes, each sponsor must annually announce in the media servicing the area the availability of free meals per 7 CFR 225, which is the summer food regulations. So enter any questions you may have at this time. Thank you for listening, and I'll pass it back to Colleen.
Okay, thank you, Linda, and thank you, team, for all of the information. So we have quite a few questions here, and I am thinking at this time, if we are still not through all the questions at the end of this webinar, we will continue going as long as we can to get these things answered. So if something happens that you need to leave, we will also have all of this Q&A put out on our website. So you will get the information one way or the other. Okay, first question. Since we are going to a 4-day school week, but with a few Fridays added back in for our delayed start, can we send meals for those few scheduled online days? So Linda, you want to take that one, please?
Sure. If it's a regularly scheduled school day, you may feed the children. And the next question I know I answered is, since we are doing NSLP right now, can we switch to Seamless Summer for both face-to-face students and online? Yes, you may switch to Seamless Summer right now.
Perfect. Thank you, Linda. Next question. If we switch to Seamless, SSO, is it correct that we should feed all the children or just our enrolled students? And so, Marianne, how about you take that one?
Thank you, Colleen. So the answer to this question is, if an SFA operates SSO under an open site or site, they must feed all children ages 1 to 18. This means children attending their school and children from the community can access that. If an SFA would like to operate a site, please contact the state agency for more guidance regarding implementation of closed enrolled sites. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Marianne. Next question. The extension guidance states school through 12/31/2020 or until funding runs out. What happens if I serve meals and funding runs out before I submit my claim? Meals were prepared using summer food meal pattern and would not fit the NSLP meal pattern. What happens to those meals served? So Heather, how about you take that one?
Yes, good morning, everyone. So the state agency is still awaiting further guidance from USDA on the availability and use of funding for these extensions. So this is a very good question we don't currently have an answer for.
Thank you, Heather. And we definitely do want to add in there that you will not be in a situation where you do not get reimbursement for, you can only do as good with the information that you have at that time. Heather is correct that we do need to get additional guidance, but I don't want anyone to have the impression that a reimbursable meal that is served that is considered reimbursable and approved for at that time, that you would not get reimbursement for that. Okay, next question. Can a sponsor operate summer food and childcare to cover meals for kids that are in our daycare or in our care, all day? So Kim, how about you take that one?
Okay, yes. The state agency is still awaiting guidance from USDA whether a sponsor may operate it in both CSAP and the summer food program at the same time. So once we receive the guidance, we will provide it to all the at-risk after-school sponsors.
Great, Kim, thank you. Okay, next question. I had a question from a parent yesterday about this. How are they doing the PEBT money for the free income-based and reduced families, as they wouldn't have an EBT card since they aren't on food stamps or SNAP? So Linda, I'll let you take that one.
Okay. So all SNAP families will get a letter this week, and they have the benefits just loaded onto their SNAP card that they currently have. All the families that were free and reduced or not on SNAP will have a letter and card sent to them by September 15th. Just make sure they're on the list uploaded to Health and Welfare or Otis by your district, so that they're not waiting and shouldn't have been or were inadvertently missed on the list. So first thing first, check your list to make sure they were on there.
Yes, thank you, Linda. And to add on to what Linda already said, and she really alluded to this, is that it's kind of going out in phases. So their first phase is for those families that are currently having an EBT card, and then the next phase is for the next group. So you might have some that come in and ask, and it will be coming. Okay, so next question. If we don't qualify for summer food, can we do the new flexibilities to serve students all free? So TJ, how about you take that one?
Great, thank you, Colleen. Sorry for the delay in unmuting myself, guys. You know, after all this time, you'd think I would get this, but so the question was, the USDA has waived the area eligibility requirement so that FFA can opt in to operate under SSO. So if you don't qualify for SFSP or have not operated SFSP for the past 2 years, then you can use the SSO flexibility. Keep in mind, you do not have to switch to those programs, however. You can continue to operate under NSLP if you so choose. So thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, TJ. Next question. Our district just started an online school, which they bought and hired outside teachers to run. These kids aren't in our Power School system, so I am right that they won't qualify for the NSLP lunch program. So Heather, how about you take that one?
Yes, so if students are not enrolled by the district in a brick and mortar site within a school food authority, then they are not permitted to participate in school meal programs such as the NSLP or school breakfast program. These requirements do not apply for open sites operated under SFSP or SSO.
Great, thank you so much, Heather. Okay, next one is, how do I get the audio to work? Looks like Jessica put in there, make sure your system audio is not muted. Any other suggestions? That's probably about it, right, Jessica?
Yeah, I know there was one other individual that was having issues with the audio, and I think it was just cutting in and out. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you for your clarification on that. Okay, next question. How do we operate summer food while schools are in session if so many enrolled students are over the age of 18? So Marianne, we'll give that to you.
Yes, thank you, Colleen. So under the SFSP as well as SSO, and under the response, COVID-19 response number 56 allows for SFSP and SSO sponsors to operate through December 31st of this year or until funding runs out. For both SFSP and SSO, sponsors operating open sites must serve to all children ages 1 to 18. The little difference on this one is a person 19 years of age and over who has a mental or physical disability as determined by the state or local educational agency, and who participates during the school year in a public or a private nonprofit school program is also eligible to receive free meals under SFSP and SSO operation. Thanks, Colleen.
Yeah, thank you, Marianne. Next question, just to confirm, to serve summer food, we don't have to be in an unanticipated closure. So TJ, how about you take that one?
Yeah, great question, because I know we've had a lot of talk about unanticipated and anticipated. So these newly released waivers through USDA that we've been discussing on this webinar are intended to allow SFAs to serve meals just as they did basically in the spring. But typically, basically we're not calling it under an unanticipated closure. So that's why these were released. SFAs can, but you can also continue to operate NSLP under the NSLP specific waivers if you so choose.
Great, thank you, TJ. Thank you. Okay, next question. Can we start feeding under summer food rules even if we have started NSLP before our packet approval? And so TJ, I'll give that one to you.
Absolutely, thanks again. And so, yes, as Linda mentioned previously, beginning September 1, 2020, SFAs may begin operating under the SFSP SSO waivers. What we are encouraging, however, is we'd like to make sure that the SFAs know that you need to complete those packets in My Idaho CMP as quickly as possible, and also make sure that you're watching for the release of the waivers so that you can opt into those waivers. But as of September 1, you can start feeding under the new waivers. So thanks again.
Great. Yeah, thank you, TJ. Okay, Mary Ann, we'll give this one to you. What is the closed enrolled?
This is a great question, and the state agency is getting more clarification on how closed enrolled sites operate. So if you are considering this or curious about this, please contact the state agency for further discussion regarding this option. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Next question. If we have started NSLP and are making a switch to summer food, how does verification work? Do we still conduct the verification process in October? So Heather, I'll give that one to you.
Yeah, so the verification process is something that we still need further guidance on from USDA, and we will let you know what that looks like as soon as we get that from USDA.
Perfect, thank you. Next question. We did not hear about the monitoring that Mary Ann was talking about. So Mary Ann, you want to give some clarification there?
Yeah, definitely. And as I mentioned earlier, this can be a little confusing just because we're crossing over to new federal fiscal year come October 1st. And so we want to make sure that we're relaying the information correctly. So I will just read exactly what I typed on this answer so that everyone can get a clarification on this question. So for rating in the month of September, these new sites will require a pre-operational visit, first week visit, site review, and the racial ethnic data. For SFSP sites that have operated in spring and summer months of this year, the monitoring requirements should already have been completed. October 1st, 2020 marks the new federal fiscal year. Therefore, any sites operating October 1st through December, and if they are not operating in summer 2021, they must have the site review and racial ethnic data completed before the last day of meal service. However, if these SFSP sites will be operating in summer 2021, which I know we all have a crystal ball on how next summer would look like, but if they are operating in summer 2021, SFSP sponsors can postpone these monitoring requirements into summer 2021. Since summer 2021 is part of the fiscal year 21, which is October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Okay, next question. Is the reimbursement the same for summer food and seamless summer? So TJ, how about you take that one?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that. Thank you, Colleen. So no, there is a difference between the reimbursement rates for breakfast and lunch for both FSO and SFSP. However, it's important for sponsors to keep in mind that serving under SFSP does not attribute a meal count to the SFA's further entitlement. So the following year, those meals served under SFSP would not have a USDA foods entitlement value associated with those. So all those things need to be taken into consideration, and the rates for reimbursement rates for those specific meals are listed in My Idaho CMP under the claim rate information. So you can use those to do the math. Great question.
Okay, TJ, I'll give you this one too. If we start summer food now, do we use the start date of September? I believe that's been answered, but you can just provide more clarification if you'd like.
Right. So again, September 1st is the first available date for implementation of these operations under the newly released waivers. But we do want to make sure that you know to take those steps to opt into the waivers, and we'll need to have those packets in My Idaho CMP updated as quickly as possible. So thank you for that.
Okay, next question. If we want to continue operating NSLP for now while we are in school as normal, will we have an option to switch to summer food if we are suddenly out of school for an extended period due to COVID? So TJ, I'll give you that one. TJ, you might be on mute.
I was on mute. I apologize. And I scrolled down, so I'm trying to get back to the question here.
TJ, I can read it for you again if you would like.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if we want to continue operating NSLP for now while we are in school as normal, will we have an option to switch to summer food if we are suddenly out of school for an extended period due to COVID?
Perfect. Thank you. I appreciate that, Colleen, for the redirect there. So you do not have to opt in to the waivers right now. You can choose to continue to operate under NSLP under the flexibilities that were released in June 25th, 2020. However, the funding is limited, and so keep in mind a couple of things. You may want to pay close attention to, your plan, what's happening financially for you, because the state agency will be limited to sort of a monthly opt-in opportunity because of the way claiming is set up. And we don't know at this point how long that funding will last. It is until the available funding runs out. So keep those things in mind when you move forward with your decision making. Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you, TJ. And TJ did answer the next question, was how long are the funds expected to last? And at this point, we do not know, but certainly we'll keep everyone up to date once we hear. Next question, if we choose to operate summer food, how does that affect the application process for free, reduced, and the verification process in November? And so Heather, how about you take that one?
Sure. So the state agency is still seeking further guidance from USDA on the process of verification for SY 2021. And with regard to approving free and reduced applications, please keep in mind that current guidance indicates the school meal program operation under NSLP and school breakfast program will resume when funding runs out, or December 31st, whichever comes first, and individual student eligibility statuses will need to be used at that time.
Okay, thank you, Heather. Next question, please explain the difference between summer food and seamless benefits. Dominique, how about you take that one?
Thank you, Colleen. So for the Seamless Summer, essentially allows sponsors to continue operating their NSLP program through the summer months. The NSLP meal pattern is used, and all meals served are free to the children in the community under Seamless Summer. The reimbursement rate for Seamless Summer is paid at the free rate for the NSLP or the SBP, which is slightly less than the summer food reimbursement rate. However, as TJ mentioned earlier, USDA entitlement is not calculated for meals served under the summer food service program and should be taken into consideration when making a decision. Additionally, the monitoring requirements under the summer food service program do not apply to the Seamless Summer option. Under the Seamless Summer option, sponsors must review the meal counting claiming and meal pattern compliance at least once during each site's operation, but they are not held to the monitoring requirements of SFSP, which are the pre-operational first week and 4-week monitoring requirements. So there are differences in monitoring and reimbursement to take into consideration when choosing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique. And I just want to let everyone know we are coming upon 9:45. Jessica, will the system allow us to keep going beyond the hour? It will not cut us off, will it?
No, we can continue to go.
Perfect. Okay, we are going to continue through these questions so we can give you the support that you need. Again, if you need to get off of this call, please keep in mind that we will be publishing the Q&A for everyone. Okay, so next question. What happens when the funds run out? Do we just go right back to NSLP, or what will the requirements be? And so TJ, how about you take that one?
Happy to, thank you. So at this time, the USDA has provided us the guidance that once the funding runs out, SFAs would return to the NSLP meal pattern. But I did want to point out that the flexibilities that were released for NSLP meal service on June 25th, 2020 allowed those flexibilities through the entire school year of 2021. So when we do return after funding is no longer available for SFSP, SSO, then we still have those MSLP flexibilities. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, TJ. Next question. While school is in session, we are trying to feed in the cafeteria, making it safe. I can't imagine that administration would like unenrolled students and parents coming into the cafeteria because of safety concerns. So could we be able to close the school sites and offer grab and go for unenrolled students? So Dominique, how about you take that one?
Thank you, Colleen. Yes, the schools may operate a closed enrolled site to serve the children in the cafeteria that are attending in-person school, and may also operate an open site for grab-and-go meals to be served to the community members. This, and please contact the state agency for further guidance on this, but it is a way that sponsors are utilizing the ability to serve their children that are attending in-person school in a safe manner while also meeting the needs of the community members at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominique. Next question. I'm trying to update my Idaho CMP summer food application, but the calendar under the site application isn't allowing me to change the date past 9/30/2020. So Marianne, how about if you take that one?
Yeah, thank you, Colleen. This is a great question. So for any SFSP sponsors updating their site applications past September 30th, the current federal fiscal year ends on September 30th, which means the current SFSP packet on My Idaho CMP only allows for the end date of September 30th. October 1st marks the new federal fiscal year, so that means that the SFSP packet information will be rolled over to the new federal fiscal year, meaning new SFSP packet will need to be created and approved by the state agency. This is one of the advantages if an SFA would like to operate under SSO instead of SFSP. A new packet will not need to be created beginning October 1st for any SFAs wanting to do SSO. So again, for more information, please contact the state agency. Thank you, Colleen.
Great. Thank you, Marianne. Okay, I think the next question has been asked and it's also in the PowerPoint, so please explain the difference between summer food and seamless. So if someone needs more clarification after what we've already presented today, just let us know. So next question, if I'm currently running National School Lunch but switch to summer food, will the free and reduced percentages be affected for other school programs that use this rate for grants, funding, etc.? Are we able to continue to collect free and reduced forms while running summer food so it is on file when we have to go back to NSLP? That is, yeah, that's a great question. So Linda, how about you take that one?
Okay, I will take the next two, actually. They're on the same vein. So it's a great question. We'll have to ask USDA about the scenario, and we will get back to you on that. And the next one, can we continue to collect applications in preparation for December? Again, I will send that question to USDA today and hopefully get an answer back for you soon.
Great. Okay, next, we are on a 4-day district. Can we serve meals 5 days? So Marianne?
Yes, so for any SFAs operating SFSP or SSO, yes, you can serve meals for 5 days to all children ages 1 to 18. Thanks, Colleen.
Perfect. Next question, under seamless summer, can we serve breakfast and lunch per student each day, so claiming 2 meals or only claim 1 meal? How about you take that, TJ?
Yes, thank you, Colleen. So basically, all meals, it looks very much like what we did in the spring. So SFAs can offer free breakfast and lunch to all children aged 1 to 18. Just make sure that the packet, My Idaho CMP packet, indicates that you're planning to serve both meals. And also make sure that you opt into those waivers that we've been discussing.
Great, thank you, TJ. Next question, is PEBT only available for SNAP households or to any household that was eligible for free and reduced meals. So Linda, why don't you take that?
Sure. All PEBT is available for all free and reduced children as of March 23rd, 2020. This is the list that was uploaded into either Otis or sent to Health and Welfare, and I believe it was beginning of August. And that is what was used to send out this round of benefits. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next question. Did I hear Kim say that we don't know if we can operate summer food and childcare or CSCFP supper together daily in a session at school? So either Marianne or Kim, how about you take that?
This is
Yes,
Kim.
oh, go ahead, Kim. Sorry.
That's okay. Yes, I did say that. We do not have guidance yet whether a sponsor can operate in both programs at the same time, summer food and CSCP at-risk after-school program, but we're hoping to get that information very soon.
Okay, the next question, if we run under Seamless Summer, will children receive free breakfast and lunch? So TJ, why don't you take that one?
Yes. So again, it's just back to what programs you're choosing to operate and implement under your My Idaho C&P packet. So make sure you've indicated that you plan to offer both meals and opt into the waivers, and those meals will be claimed at the free rate.
Okay, thank you, TJ. Next question. I updated my C&P for Seamless Summer, and this shows an error saying the date cannot begin before October 1st. I'm assuming that we will submit anyway with the error. Go ahead and give Melissa Cook a call or somebody on the NSLP team since it is the Seamless Summer, and we can help you with that error. Okay, next question. If operating summer food September to December, can we still collect free and reduced apps from parents in preparation for the funding when it runs out, or December? And I believe that Linda already answered that we will ask that. It's a great question. We will ask it up to USDA. Can we opt in? Next question. Can we opt into summer food at a later date if we close down, or do we have to opt in now? So Dominique, you want to take that one?
Yes, thank you, Colleen. Sponsors are not required to opt into these waivers. However, you may choose to opt into the waivers at any time, keeping in mind, to TJ's point, that we do not know when the funds may run out, and we are asking that the switch of programs begins on the beginning of a month basis, not in the middle of the month, because this will help with claiming. So you may opt in, but there is no requirement to opt in. Thank you.
Perfect. Next question. If our school was paid at a free rate for Seamless Summer, how does that work for the new fall Seamless Summer? And I'll just hurry and answer that. That reimbursement, it will be the same, all free meals. Okay, next question. When will we find out about our NSLP meal pattern waiver request? This may affect us on the decision to change over to summer food. So Heather, you want to take that one?
Yes, so the state agency is reviewing the NSLP meal pattern requests in the order in which they were submitted, and then contacting the SFAs when more information is needed to review the request. However, please contact our office if you need additional information regarding the status of those requests in order to make a decision about the newly released SFSP waivers. And you can contact me, Heather Bloom, for those questions specifically.
Perfect. Thank you, Heather. Okay, next question. Summer food waiver on monitoring clarification. If we opt into the waiver, we do not have to complete the first 4 weeks reviews or ethnicity, ? Or is it required just in a different format for social distancing? So Marianne, you want to take that?
Yes, thank you, Colleen. So for all SFSP sponsors, they are still required to complete the monitoring requirements during operation. The on-site monitoring waiver we received a couple weeks ago, whenever that was, allows for SFSP sponsors to complete the monitoring requirements off-site, meaning as a desk review. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Marianne. Okay, I think the next question has been answered already, but Dominique, if you have more to answer for that, to switch to summer food or seamless, will there be a 2021 application to complete, or do we need to update 1920? So Dominique, you want to take that?
Yes, thank you. We're in the middle of switching between fiscal years. So if you are planning to switch your program operations beginning September 1, from September 1st through the 30th, you will update the 2019-2020 application packet. And for program operations after October 1st, you will enter that information into the new year 2021 application packet. So it will be split between 2 years of application packets. Thank you.
Could
Thank you,
this is Melissa. I would like to jump in here with regards to the SSO question going till past October 1st. It's the same thing. The program runs on a federal fiscal year, so that has to be done in both program years. You got to go back to last program year and do this program year to get, if to cover September and then on October. So it's a little confusing, but you do have to update in 2 areas.
Thank you, Melissa, for that clarification. Okay, next question. If I choose to do summer food in our lunchroom at all schools operating during NSLP, what do I need to do to make sure all schools can operate summer food if they aren't in an area eligible school? So Marianne, you want to take that?
This is a great question. We do have the area eligibility waiver that was also extended up through December 31st. It was part of the broadcast email of the extension waivers we released we sent on Monday. And so we are formalizing our processes on how to create that or complete that on a form to be transferred to My Idaho CMP. We are anticipating it'll be pretty similar to what we did in spring when you guys had to complete the Excel spreadsheet, the attachment A, but we will send that out, as mentioned earlier, along with the opt-in forms, hopefully before the weekend, so that we can get that all up and going for you guys. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Marianne. Okay, next question. Does PEBT card status last all year, and are they under direct cert? Linda, how about you take that one?
Sure. Okay, so PEBT is just a special program. It does not qualify any student as directly certified or DC. Only a SNAP benefit confers eligibility as free DC. You should not count PEBT benefits as a free determination because it encompasses both free and reduced students. So rely only on the DC list that comes from our system, not any card at all. And I'll take the next question too, Colleen. It says
Sure.
Our IC coordinator did not save a copy of the file uploaded for PEBT. Do you think we could download it from the Otis site and have your IC coordinator see if they can download it? But I will make a reminder that you should always keep anything created for a program where it can be accessed for 3 years plus current for state agency review. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Linda. Okay, next question. There was some talk during the summer seamless meals earlier this year about older sibling pickup meals for their younger siblings at the site, bus stop, etc. Would this be an option? So does anyone on the program side have clarification, or are we still waiting from USDA on that?
Hi, Colleen, this is TJ, and I'm happy to just say we did actually ask this specifically on our calls recently, and what we got was it is parent or guardian, but a lot of the reference was back to what we did in the spring. So really at this time, the state agency is requesting additional guidance to ensure that it is either like it was in the spring or it is truly parent guardian. There is more integrity around, and I did want to point out, we are being told that we really need to have more of an integrity plan from the school districts about ensuring there will be no duplication of meals. So that would be another piece of the answer to this particular question. So thank you, Colleen. Sorry about that interruption.
No, that's fine. And I am glad that TJ brought that part up about the integrity. You're going to really need to note that on these waivers and as you go into this fall, because USDA has mentioned more than once that the integrity piece is going to be very strong this fall. Okay, next question. Does closed enroll mean offering free meals to only the students in our school? Who at the state agency should we contact on more information? So TJ, you want to take that?
Yes, and I think that Dominique and Marianne both have covered the what does closed enrolled mean, but I did just want to provide that any questions that you have, please feel free to make sure that you send those to childnutrition@fce.idaho.gov. That allows all of us to receive those emails, and then we can be more customer service oriented and get answers to you more quickly. And I also provided our phone number on the response. So please make sure to reach out to us and we'll work with you on that. So thank you for the question.
Marianne, you want to take that?
Sorry about that, Colleen. I think my phone went off a little bit. But it looks like the same question was actually asked as well. And I apologize. Heather, would you, I see that you had entered a comment under this specific question, if you wanted to say anything.
Yes, can you guys all hear me? I think my audio cut out for a couple seconds there.
Oh, you're
All of ours did.
Okay.
All of our,
So the question is it better to add new SFSP for the current year rather than using the SY20 and then add a current year? And depending on who's approving your application packet, you might want to reach out to the individual coordinator who's been working with you to approve your NSLP renewal packet. But in this case, I would imagine, especially for SSO, it's better to go back if you intend to operate because those will then roll forward. But I would defer to Melissa in our office as to whether that's a logical process flow. However, if you want to be operating in September, it will not allow you to add those sites in the SY21 year as the program hasn't actually started until October 1st. For SSO specifically, sorry, I should make that clarification.
Thank you, Heather. Next question. If we are serving National School Lunch, can we switch to summer food or seamless? Or did I hear that we have to go to seamless? Dominique, how about you take that one?
Thank you, Colleen. If the sponsor operated the summer food service program in the previous 2 years, they are eligible to operate either the summer food service program or the seamless summer option. Sponsors that have not operated the summer food program in the past 2 years are eligible to operate the seamless summer option. So for those sponsors that have operated summer food, you have the choice between the SFSP or the seamless summer. Thank you.
Okay, great. Next question. If we opt in for seamless closed sites, we would serve all enrolled students at a school, but not the community kids and claim them as free, correct? So Marianne?
Yes, thank you, Colleen. And I actually also wanted to add from the previous question regarding SFSP or SSO, the question that Dominique just answered. There's definitely a couple of pros and cons between SFSP and SSO. One of them is the monitoring requirements. So if you are contemplating between operating SFSP or SSO, please contact the state agency to get more information about that. And we want to make sure that we are providing all of the information that you need in order to decide between the operation of SFSP or SSO. But for this question regarding the closed enrolled site, again, please contact the state agency to work through operating closed enrolled sites. We barely just got clarification on how closed enrolled sites operates from our Western region call very late yesterday. And so we are gathering more information about this. So if you are considering closed enrolled sites, please contact the state agency to further discuss that. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you, Marianne. And did you want to take the next one, or do you think that you have answered that already? Is it better to start a new 21 summer packet rather than using the 20? I think you've answered that already.
Yeah, and I'll just add in, it really, in regard to this question, if the sponsor is operating SFSP this month, which is September, then the SFSP sponsor must complete the FY20 application. Unless, of course, if an SFA would like to finish the NSLP operation through the end of September and then begin SFSP October 1st, then you would just need to complete the new SFSP packet for fiscal year 21. Thanks, Colleen.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Next question. Will choosing summer food affect our severe need calculations in the future? I'm thinking that's the question. It's a good question. I think that is one that we're going to have to get further guidance on unless somebody on the team has more insights on that. Okay. So I'm just going to let everyone know we will go till 10:15. That will be 30 minutes beyond our regular scheduled webinar. But if your question does not get answered, again, we will make sure and answer every one of these questions. Some of them look similar, so we will condense those down and make sure and get that out to you. Next question. So did I hear right? If we operate summer food or seamless, those meals will not count towards our USDA food entitlement for next year. TJ, how about you?
Additional clarification. So summer feeding SFSP meal counts are not included in USDA foods entitlement calculations. However, SSO, because you're operating under an NSLP meal pattern, those meal counts do contribute to your USDA calculations for the coming year. And so take all of that into consideration because it is the SFSP reimbursement rate that is higher. The SSO reimbursement rate is lower, but you get the USDA entitlement value with SSO. So hopefully that clarifies for everybody. Great question.
Yeah, thank you, TJ. Okay, next question. I don't understand about PEBT. Are they free students? And so Linda is just asking the person to give her a call. She can explain it to you in more detail and has provided her phone number there. Next question. So if you go to summer food or seamless, how does it affect your entitlement funds? And I believe that TJ just answered that. Was there anything more that you want to clarify on that, TJ?
No, that pretty much covered it. I think we got that one taken care of. And I believe the next one is me as well. So I'll go ahead and answer that one too. So the question was, if we choose to operate under SFSP, we will not receive USDA or DOD entitlement next year. And what I want to reiterate is it is only during the time period that you're operating summer food that your entitlement will be impacted. So that's where you have to make that financial determination. Do you take the higher reimbursement rate for the number of meals that you serve under SFSP, knowing that your entitlement will be impacted in the future? Or do you choose to operate SSO, use the national school lunch meal pattern, and know that you'll receive the USDA foods entitlement? So clearly this is a little bit tricky, but at the end of the day, it really is what is going to work best for your district currently, and then do the math accordingly. So great question, and I understand, what people are trying to get to.
Sure. Okay, the next two questions I think we've addressed already. I'm going to read them out loud, and if the individuals that have submitted these still need further clarification, please give our office a call. The first of those two questions, is it better to add new summer food for current year rather than using the school year 20 and then add a current school year 21? I think we've answered that one. And next question is, so does seamless summer affect the entitlement? And I believe that TJ just answered that one too. So again, if we did not or you needed further clarification, please feel free to call our office. Okay, we have just 5 minutes left and have a number of questions here. Okay, next question. If I switch to seamless summer after September and already submitted reimbursement under NSLP, will I need to return to the NSLP money so I can claim September under seamless? So who would like to take that one?
Hi, Colleen, I can take that one. So if you are submitting claims under different programs, it's really important that we see where the month was operated and submit the claim under the appropriate month. So if this individual is referring to August, where meals were served under NSLP in the month of August, and that claim has been submitted, that claim will be paid out under NSLP, which is the program they were approved to operate under. Then in September, should you switch to seamless summer or to SFSP, those meal counts would be counted under seamless summer or SFSP and claimed through those sites that are approved to operate. So we don't want to be splitting months. We're not going to be requiring people to pay back those. We want there to be a clear line as to which program operated so we can pay it out of the appropriate funding source.
Perfect. Thank you, Heather. Next question. Any advice for charter schools opening during this time? When filling out my Idaho CMP application, do we fill it out as SSO if this is what we want to offer to our students and communities? So Marianne will give you that one.
Yes, thank you, Colleen. So for any SFAs that did not operate summer feeding the past 2 summers, they can qualify under SSO. So if you are interested in operating the seamless summer option this fall, please contact the state agency for more information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marianne. Next question. My school is a remote-only learning, and I was given approval to run NSLP in which students enrolled at our school may come and get a food box they have ordered once a week, which contains all breakfast and lunch items for the in-session school days of that week. Can I also run the seamless summer at the same time, or must I choose between programs? So Heather, how about if you take that one?
Yes, and the answer is currently we have not been given the authorization to approve concurrent operation of both school meal programs and SFSP or SSO. So at this point in time, you would need to select whether you want to operate under the school meal programs, which is NSLP, or school breakfast program, or switch over and operate under seamless summer or SFSP.
Perfect. Thank you, Heather. Next question. We have been on Provision 2 breakfast since 0405. If we choose to do the seamless versus NSLP, will it mess up my breakfast program? Will I have to do a new base year? So anyone on the NSLP team, if you would please take that.
This is Jen. I can go ahead and answer that. If you are currently operating with already confirmed base year percentages in these non-base years since that 2004-2005 school year, then your breakfast claim is only under NSLP, and that's when Provision 2 claims are impacted. So if you're operating SSO, you aren't filing an NSLP claim. So therefore, it doesn't have any impact on your Provision 2 breakfast. I will just say that more guidance could eventually come out with some clarification on how all provisions are impacted with these changes, but currently it's just you would be operating SSO and not even touching your NSLP school breakfast claim or lunch claim, depending which Provision 2 operation you are conducting.
Thank you very much, Jen. Okay, next question, can we send multiple days of meals at grab and go site? And Marianne, you want to take that one?
Yes, thank you. Great question. We do have the meal service time waiver available that was part of the extension waivers that was released this past Monday. So once we have the opt-in form completed and sent out, hopefully before the weekend, please make sure to opt into that waiver so that you are able to distribute multiple meals in one distribution. Thanks, Colleen.
Thank you. Okay, next question. It looks like the rate between Summer Food and Seamless is 25 cents. How much are we credited per meal for USDA foods? And TJ, you want to take that one?
Yes, the current meal rate for USDA foods, and that's current as of this year, is 0.3625. Keep in mind that it is only lunch meals that are currently attributed to your entitlement rate. So that's something else to keep in mind in your consideration. But the state agency in the past 2 years has received a bulk contribution to our entitlement of about $20 million for, $20 million for breakfast that is divided out amongst the states. So that we don't anticipate that would change, but it's not broken down to a per meal rate.
Okay, thank you, TJ. So at this point, it is 10:15. We apologize. We do have a number of questions left, but at this point, we are going to end the webinar. We will get the answers for every question that was put in here, and we will get it out on our website. If something is urgent that we did not get to, please let us know. Give us a call or an email. We are here for you, but I think just time has run out. So again, thank you for all of your hard work. We understand that things are just, this is a moving target, something that none of us have been through before. So we appreciate your dedication and hard work in feeding the students. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a wonderful day and have a great Labor Day. Bye-bye.